Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. If you were lucky enough, as frankly I was, to be enjoying a final pre-Labor Day summer weekend and were not paying attention to the minute-by-minute antics of our commander-in-chief, here's a quick, non-comprehensive rundown of Donald Trump's G7 summit. Like so much about this president, it was at one level bemusing, but also horrifying because the stakes of all the things that he's so glibly blowing off are so high. For instance, the Amazon, which is still burning at an alarming rate. Over the weekend, the New York Times covered the fact that there are also now devastating fires in Bolivia, and experts say it could, quote, take up to 200 years for the forests in Bolivia to heal. The world leaders at the G7 had a meeting about it, and all the leaders were there except one. Guess who? The new White House press secretary said Trump skipped because he had scheduled meetings and bilaterals with Germany and India. One problem with that account, the leaders of both those countries were at the climate meeting, so who knows? We'll have more on the Amazon fires and what the world leaders did and didn't do about them in just a few minutes. Trump also continued his ongoing so-called negotiations with China at the G7. Early at the summit, Trump sort of said he had second thoughts about his trade war before trying to take it all back. But the bottom line about the China situation right now is that financial markets, American domestic audiences, global audiences, and the Chinese themselves all see that Trump is flailing. We all see the same thing. And so, as is often the case, the president apparently invented a lie to try to extricate himself, saying the vice chairman of China called and wants to make a deal. But the phone call appears not to have happened. At least the Chinese government says it didn't happen. And I leave it to you, America. Who do you believe, Donald Trump on a whim or the Chinese Communist Party? Meanwhile, Trump doubled down or tripled down or whatever the count is now on inviting his own buddy Vladimir Putin back to the global party. Trump is advocating for Putin's long-standing position, a position that is the origin of this entire era of Russian aggression towards the U.S. Putin's main complaint is that we punished him for breaking international law when he invaded Crimea. And the origin of the sanctions that Putin has been trying to get lifted, it all started with that. Russia's G8 expulsion all started with that. When Putin picked which horse to back in the 2016 presidential election, when they had all those weird associates floating back-channel peace deals to the White House that would allow Crimea to be forever recognized as part of Russia, this is what it was all about. And here is a president of the United States on the world stage in front of all the world leaders, again, repeatedly spouting Russian talking points and towing the Russian line. Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.